Yo, 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 and welcome to another fun podcast coming your way called Your Next Big Thing. If you're new here, I'm Chad Everhart, and I'm here with my two lifelong friends, Mr. Rob Powell and Mr. Tim Nichols. Thank you for joining today, my friends. And we've got over 100 years, if you can imagine such a thing, of experience in tech, entertainment, fitness, startups, and nonprofits. We're coming to you today from 3 time zones and actually 4 beautiful cities. Now, your next big thing is for anyone in their mid to late careers, asking themselves, what's next? What's next for me? Whether you're looking for a job, whether you're rethinking what work even means for you right now, or just trying to find out what the second half of your life looks like, you're in the right place. So we keep it real, we keep it fun, and most importantly, we bring people like our guest today who've done it and are still doing it. So with that being said, let's get into it. First of all, how's everyone doing today? All the smiley faces? Everybody good? All right.
And holiday weekend.
So without the introduction, I just want to tell you a few things about how I feel about this guest who I've known for over a decade. Positive, friendly, outgoing, giving, vibrant, a music lover, a glowing, adventurous, caring, wonderful, brave, helpful, kind, serial entrepreneur, mother of 5, honest, artistic, coach, teacher, mentor, and a business owner for almost 3 decades. So if that doesn't pull you in, I don't know what will. And I've hopefully embarrassed our guest immensely at this point. But her name is Diana Paquet. As I mentioned, I've known her for over 10 years, and we are absolutely excited to have you today and lean in and learn a little bit about entrepreneurship. So with that being said, Diana Paquet, you have the floor. Please introduce yourself and how you would describe yourself as a woman in Surf City, USA.
Thank you so much. Okay, can you see that I have tears, a little bit of tears? That was so nice. Thank you, Chad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Diana Paquet. I'm a mom of 5. I would say that momming has been my biggest adventure, probably. And we have a surprise 9-year-old. So we figured that by the time I got done mothering, at the bare minimum, if she launches and graduates and we're done paying for her by 22, I will mother people for I think it's 37 years. So that's probably my longest and biggest achievement and my biggest joy. But I also have had the pleasure of being involved in a lot of different things, and a lot of different opportunities have come my way. And yeah, so I've done a lot of entrepreneurship. I actually just recently went in for an interview, and I told the 20-somethings that were interviewing me, I was like, this is my first interview since I was your age 30 years ago. So I was really nervous about it. But yeah, that's who I am.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we have a ton of questions, and Tim is probably the only person on the panel here that's been an entrepreneur as well. We've dabbled in it. We've worked for startups and things of that nature, and Rob's done a lot of investing. But the entrepreneurial side is something, new to me anyway. I've thought about it, many different times, and listening to a few of your podcasts, it's like I've got inspired to learn a little bit more. So if you could, can you kind of take us back to as the young Diana, straight, in her early 20s, and how you became an entrepreneur and why that came about?
Yeah. So I moved to Athens, Georgia with my first husband. It was total culture shock. I had a big clientele in Newport Beach, and I was just working behind a chair, and I was already really into making money and investing. And I had bought my first condo when I was 25. So it's very on the grind. Right. And when we went out to Athens, I was working, but the salon that I was working at, which was kind of the best little salon there, was very depressing, very negative. It was just hard to scrape up some positivity. And I was, complaining quite a bit. And we ended up finding a space and opening a salon. Well, the salon space was 3,000 square feet because it was kind of hidden behind a movie theater. And it's a little grungy. You could roller skate in it. It was just a big cement kind of box. And so, I borrowed 20 grand from my family's farm business, and they lent it to me. And away we went. I opened the first day by myself with one other girl. And that was when Gwen Stefani had colored her hair pink. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. So I colored my hair pink to kind of make a scene. That was before anyone else was doing, you didn't see that all the time. And then Austin Powers movie came out. So I got a bunch of cute girls. I hired like cute college sorority girls, and we all went out and passed out free hair tickets where there was lines at the movie theater. And it was just like, that was the first time I remember I'm like, oh my gosh. So the first year we went from having one stylist to 18 stylists. We had like a
Wow.
flood of stylists. And I remember, I was 27 years old and I was like, I probably should have managed a McDonald's or managed something prior to managing all these personalities and people and all that stuff. But that was my first go. There's been five or six salons now that I've done since
Wow.
then. I love it. I'm a big cheerleader for it. I also think I didn't realize how much I would love developing people. It's so fun to see someone start out with no clientele, no skill set, no confidence, come in really meek and quiet, and like just a little bit of coaching, a little bit of speaking positivity into them, a little bit of giving them a skill set and being there to mentor them. And then before you know it, you have somebody who's like, hey, I got a new car. I remember the next year I had this one girl and she's like, hey, just put a down payment on my first condo, and you see people developing, and it's kind of like I have a little investment in that too, because I got to see that happen for them. So yeah, that was my 20s into my 30s, and then we moved back to Huntington, and I was kind of exhausted. I'd had two kids, and so I was kind of beat. And I came back here, and then before you knew it, we opened another salon, and we ended up doing two out here. So yeah.
So what was do you remember that there was a moment where you're like, I can do this? Or what was it that allowed you to borrow that money? Was there a moment of like, you saw someone else
Well,
that was able to do it?
I never took a finance class or anything like that. I had an ex-husband who very, very smart, very money savvy. And we were great business partners. He would come in at the end of my day, and back then you got checks, and he'd count my checks. And he was like, God damn, you make a lot of money doing hair. And I'm like, yeah, and I was fast and I was good and people loved me. And,
Right?
and he just like, well, he showed me this space. And I think this space was maybe like $2,000 a month. And he's like, you're making that in a couple of days. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be a
Amazing.
problem. And I'm like, yeah. And then I could kind of decorate it how I want. And then once you kind of do that, and it wasn't, back then it wasn't that big of a risk. Rents weren't as high for sure. You just kind of build on that and build on it and build on it. I don't remember ever being scared. There's a lot of things that scare me. I wake up at 3 a.m. a lot about my kids, but I don't really get scared about business stuff as much. And I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love
I
that.
don't,
One of the questions I had to kind of follow up on that was like looking back, you've had these decades of experience now. Was there one mistake that you could wish you would have been able to overcome earlier on or avoided that kind of stalled things for a while? Or was it just all part of the process of, learning and growing and check the box and
yeah,
moving on?
that's
Was
a
there one
great
thing that
question.
stands out to you?
That's a great question. I was always in a rush to do the next big thing. I was always so excited about doing the next big thing. So I went from moving to Athens in 99, opening that first salon in 99. When 9/11 happened, our salon was packed with people and it became this like mecca. People didn't want to get their hair done. They just want to come in and talk about it. It was like
Right.
this mecca. So it was like, I'm like looking around. It's like a rave. We have all these people, and we did this thing where we turned the lights out as, like what do you call that? Like a moment of silence. And my dad worked for United Airlines, and he was building the planes, the parts to the planes to secure the plane. And I could feel like everything was so different. You guys might want to cut this out, but like we were having tanks come out. I wish I was better prepared for how to be a better version for all these people that are hurting. But then I just realized all I can do is be my best, try and be the best version of myself day after day and show up. And, that's basically what occurred. But I don't know. I feel like life is like that. Like we sometimes feel like we're the only ones that did all the, when you look back, you're like, wow, I did all this stuff. And it's like, no, I mean, I do have to give credit to my ex-husband. He did a lot. I have to give a lot of credit to my current husband who worked so hard that I can have time at 11:30 in the middle of the day to sit down and talk to you guys.
So it's that team, right?
It's the team. Yeah. I
Right.
didn't do any of it myself. And then also like all those girls and guys that worked in all those chairs to build those salons and build the culture and all that. I think you have to be able to realize that you can't do it all by yourself. There's no way possible. It's not as much fun. And we need people. We need each other. So,
Yeah, I'll jump in. Having started a couple of different businesses and a couple of different nonprofits and having worked for a lot of startups, what one thing you said really resonates with me, which is you can't do it alone.
hmm
For me, I'm in the marketing space, but you can't do everything and it's kind of humbling. I think
hmm
it's something that for me personally, I always thought, oh, I can do anything. I can handle the books, I can handle the marketing, I can handle the jobs, I can handle the contracts, I can handle the legal, all the things that happen. I mean,
yeah,
how do you feel you were able to kind of manage all of that? And, because you've done a lot over a long period of time, which is
right,
phenomenal.
right,
But being able to kind of internalize all that and say, okay, I've got to run a full business,
right.
how did that kind of work out and how has that evolved over time for you?
Well, it kind of depends on the business, but it goes back to that base of like, you got to hire and find good people that will support the dream and get involved with the dream. And you got to treat them right, pay them as well as possible, treat them well, cultivate a culture where people feel like they're coming in to whether it's a hair salon or you're going into an office, that you feel like you're appreciated, you're known, your work is being seen. We had this running joke. I'm like, if I could quit, I would, but I can't quit and we're not agreeing. So you got to change what you're doing or else you got to go. That was like the ongoing joke. And I, toward the end of my owning the one big salon, I was like, if I could quit, I would. I just can't. But I think laying out boundaries of what will work for the culture and then actually following through. I'm such a people pleaser that and with no management experience, it was really easy to let people walk all over me. I did that right at first. And then after a while I realized it's not even fair to the rest of the people here that are showing up on time or are, doing whatever is asked, XYZ is asked of them. So, yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where you really, really only can get as far as the good people that are around you that will support you, that will mention your name when you're not there, that think highly of you. It's a two-way street. It's some of the leadership I see or some of the management styles that I see where it's like, it's all about, no, as soon as somebody gets a job offer somewhere else, they're going to go. And who could blame them? We all are humans. We all want to live a good life. We all have kids and families and things that we want to do. So it's really important to surround yourself with people that, better
A
than
hun-
you, better than
100%, a hundred
yeah.
percent. I totally
I
agree
I
with
work
that.
with 2 hairdressers right now that are way better than me, and I say it to them all the time.
Nice.
They just are. They've been working on their skill set longer, and they love to hear it, and I love to cheerlead them. I love to tell this lady that works next to me, she's so damn good, and she takes her time, and there's like a line for her, and I'm like, "'Cause she's the best. Hello," so
That's amazing. Yeah, the culture aspect of things is huge.
and we work to live, we don't live to work, right? If you're a healthy person, you're working to live.
100%.
Do you want to go home and be nice to your wife or your kids or whatever? You don't want to be so stressed out that you're, getting sick over it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Right.
Diana, you've got your hands in ironing a lot of fires, if you will. And
Yeah.
I listening to one of your podcasts really resonated with me. One of your friends, and one of the questions we're asking, how do you do it all? You
Oh,
have a family of five. You have a hair salon. You have a children's choir that you just created and built and grew, and it's phenomenal to see the success on social media of that. You were a realtor for a little while, like all of these things that you've tried. And one of the things that resonated with me on one of the podcasts, you mentioned when someone asked you that you're like, well, I don't do everything perfectly. I do it messy. And I learn
yeah.
from doing that. So maybe you can talk to that for just a minute, of how that works in your brain and how you're able to try things without being perfect. And
For sure. Well, I think it goes back to what Tim was just saying, which is that I don't do it all. There's a lovely, beautiful woman that helped me raise my kids and came to my house every day when I was traveling back and forth to all those salons, signed my kids up for soccer, etc. That was 15 years ago. And now I have a husband who's downstairs below me that works very hard. I always tell the kids, I'm like, he's a 70% partner. I'm a 30% partner because I actually carried Lincoln. So that's why he does more work with her now. That's like what we agreed on. We didn't really agree on that, but in my mind, I feel like that works. But if you think about what we were talking about, nobody is doing it all. having people that are supporting you, like we said, is a huge thing, but it also kind of gives you wings to be able to give things a try. I'll speak to what's going on right now with Zotti's. Zotti's is named after my grandparents. They were the Zottarellis. And I have musical children. I have 3 kids that are, in various bands, my little 9-year-old. And I was thinking I really would like to have something where I could take her to just sing, just music appreciation, all of it, right? And there's not anything like that unless you're involved in a church. And so there's also a space in the mall that I'm in where my salon is that was empty. And so I went and asked, and I was like, hey, I got this idea. I'm not sure if anyone will even be interested, but I'm thinking of like having kids come in once a week and then we'll all sing together. And they're like, yeah, here's the key for free. And this is month 7 that I've been in this space, right?
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
respectful of it. I clean up. I turn out the lights. I don't know if they've just forgotten me. I don't know how long this will go on for. The only thing they asked was that I had a liability, a specific liability insurance to be working with kids, which I did. And that has been messy. I'm not a singer at all. I'm not a professional singer at all. I love music. I sing along to music, but I'm no singing instructor. I'm just more of a music appreciator. I also have never taught children. So it is messy. It's a shit show sometimes in there, but it's fun and we're having a good time, So that has parlayed into, I was like, I wonder if I did this through the city, because the city has the programs where you can put your kids in swimming, or you can, put your kids in pottery, or you can take a line dancing class with your partner. And so I asked, what do you think about this program? And so it was an application process and messy. I don't have a resume. So like there's a lot of those tedious steps that I had to go through to do it, but I did it. So I think one thing can lead to the next if you're willing to say yes. If you're willing to be like, okay. I mean, our first salon in Huntington, you couldn't, at that time in Huntington in the mid 2000s, you couldn't get a lease. It was before 2007 and the big bust and all that. So downtown, there was no space, even if I wanted to open a salon. And we had just moved here and we still had the salons back east, and I was commuting. And I heard about this skate shop that was going to be closing. It had a half pipe in it and it was a surf store and it was 3,000 square feet. And so I went in and the owner was like, yeah, I want to sell. And I was like, all right. And he's like, but you have to buy all this stuff. So I bought wetsuits. I bought a half pipe, like a literal half pipe in the whole back of the thing. I bought
You're speaking Tim's
skateboards,
language right
kickback,
now.
I bought all that stuff for 60 grand. And then while I was going through plans and review to put my salon in there, I became a surf shop owner and I sold all the stuff off and met all the people in the community. But if I would have said, oh, wow, I don't know, I can't take all this stuff, it's you do it messy. I'm sure you guys have experienced that before too, where it's like, we're doing it. It's not perfect. I bet if any of you guys
That's what we call this podcast. It's messy.
Exactly. Exactly. That would be your second option for a name for it.
Every 10 asks I get, I'm going to get 9 no's and 1 yes. And I'm going to hang my hat on that yes. So
yes.
props
Yeah.
to you.
And I
That's
think
great.
there's something when you exercise that muscle, it gets a lot easier. That first time when you're, asking a girl out or, whatever it is you're doing, you're sending hit on the resume and you're a kid and you've never done that before. It feels so monumental. But then when you get it down to, it's like, I'm just going to ask. All they can say is no. And Chad and I were talking about it the other night. You're just in the same situation you were in originally. All they did was say no. And I don't care if someone thinks like I'm cringy. I don't think I ever come across as like overbearing. I hope to come across as someone who's grateful and respectful of someone else's opinion. But hey, if we don't ask, hey, do you want to sell your business? Hey, what do you think if I use this space? Hey, I think Thomas and I would still be in the friend zone if I hadn't have said, hey, hello, I think you're really cute. Do you want to be my boyfriend? Kind of thing. Like we probably would have raised our kids together as good friends, because it took me like making the first move. But look at me now,
Absolutely.
He's a lucky guy.
Oh, I feel like I'm lucky.
Roberto, we're going to flip it to you because otherwise I'll do all the talking. So is there anything that's jumped out at you yet, Rob?
No, I'm just curious. So, I mean, obviously you have a unique background here as a serial entrepreneur, having started, multiple businesses in kind of different sectors right now. Is there anything else on your radar? Is there anything else that, you kind of, I don't want to say check boxes yet because you're, fully doing them right now. But is there anything else out there, knowing that you kind of have the confidence of starting these other businesses? looking forward saying, you know what, this is something that I've always wanted to do? And do you have more confidence, I would say, having, with a couple businesses under your belt to take even a bigger step into something else out there? Or is there anything else on your horizon at this point?
Yeah. How exciting is it that we've got a whole other life to live, a whole next version of ourselves to explore the world, endless possibilities. Who knows who our new friends will be, new travels, new skills, new talents. Take a risk. You never know. But I'll tell you one thing that if you would have asked me this question 2 years ago, I wouldn't even have had an inkling that this was a thing to do. But since I've gone through this whole thing with Zodis, I've realized how many opportunities are not available for neurodivergent folks who are either adults or children to have programs. Looking through that SANS catalog, which is the thing that Zodis is going to be in, they have this section and it's only like 3 classes, like cooking or like how to make a friend or whatever. And I think that there's an opportunity there because there are so many people who fall into that spectrum that are underserved. So I think that I really have a heart for people who struggle with that, raising at least one that is on the spectrum. That I think that could be something that I could see myself doing years from now, or I don't know, maybe soon. I don't know. I kind of mentioned it to Thomas. He's like, "Can we just do what you said you were going to do, and let's follow through that and see if you're even still interested in it?" And I don't blame him at all. So yeah. I mean, and I'm open. Like, it's funny though, like when I think about it, I don't think like, oh, I want to manufacture earrings. Oh, I'm really interested in, how to make a better Apple Watch. None of that really interests me. But if something comes along and I feel like it can fit into our family, like the singing thing my kids were already doing, it's something that I'm already good at. I felt like I was solid with that. It feels easy to run with. And I think that that's what people should look for is like, what's that thing when I go do it? It makes me super happy. So golf, it sounds like you guys are into, like whatever those, I love Chad, how you were talking about your son. And I know that jealousy of where you're like, look at this child. He is lighting up. He found his thing. It's
Right.
so rad. Like, wouldn't that be great for all of us to be able to find that thing so early?
Absolutely. We invested so much in our kids. Sometimes we lose who are we? We
Right.
put so much time and energy or made career choices or done things to, maybe not taken the promotion or gone a different route to make sure our kids are whole. That's one of the things I love about what you're doing with Zodis is it was something that you saw that there was a need for. Tim did an episode on Ikigai, which is, finding
I
your
heard
life's
it. Yeah.
purpose. And what's cool is you've thought of something where there was a need. You thought of
Mhm.
something that gave you happiness, and then you put it together, and all of a sudden it went from your daughter as your first customer, if you will, to
Yeah.
growing. I've seen some of the videos with all these kids and the
Yeah.
confidence and the stories they have. And not only that, but you've added your own children who are very musically inclined to do the drums and then to sing, both Scarlett and Cooper. Like, how cool is that?
Good. It's going to be some good memories, if nothing else,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Tim, Rob, like I said, I've got other questions, so I'll let you guys take the floor before I just talk too much.
Yeah. So I've got another one here. What's it like being in a 2 entrepreneur household? And are there any challenges that come with that, or is it more like we're going to build off each other's strengths, or is it we're going to keep it separate? I think we've heard a little bit about this, but I'd love to dive a little deeper into that.
Yeah. I mean, Thomas is the biggest, studliest unicorn there ever is. He's a really different man. I feel bad even talking about him. I don't even post about him that much because I think men are great. I love men, but he is an exceptional human and he has made room for me to be me, like in ways that I can't even describe. That being said, there are definitely limits. Like, we have to clean the house, we have to do the laundry, we have to get the kid to soccer, and so it has to be something that fits for us. I have like some FOMO that comes up, like talking to Chad a couple months ago. I'm like, shoot, I want to get my podcast going again, but it's not the time. Like I have a little 9-year-old and that is not going to keep. She's going to be 13 before I know it and busy wanting me to drop her off somewhere, right? So this stage where she wants me, she wants to read with me, she wants to still play dolls with me, all that kind of stuff is not going to keep. And so me putting boundaries on myself and not making Thomas do that is part of being in a healthy entrepreneurial relationship. That's not really his job. Yeah, we're both up early in the morning. I drink matcha, he drinks coffee. We sit out there and talk for an hour every morning. Whatever tech news he's read about, whatever ideas I have. And we make a lot of space. We spend a lot of time talking and hanging and coming up with ideas. And, oh, what about this? Wouldn't this be cool? We could rent this house out during the Olympics, make money, and go to Portugal
Right.
for 2 years. And Thomas is like, throw on the brakes, girl.
I think you're
So,
going to be in
yeah.
an RV not too long ago for
And
you
you were
thought
not,
about the RV life. So you guys
that's
are the adventurous ones.
he had a friend with an RV, a client with an RV. And I'm like, why do you ask it? Just ask him. He wants that thing back from Washington. We can go up there and get it for him and then we'll pull it back. So we did it. I think it was a lot more fun for me than for him because it was a lot of work and learning all the things on that rig.
Tim's familiar with that life.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess one last question from my side. Obviously, you kind of got the entrepreneurial bug early from what you
Mhm.
said here before, starting off at an earlier age on the side of it. One of the demographics we're kind of reaching are people our age that, might have been working in a corporate job. Maybe you've thought about it over the years, but you just never took that first step. But now we're in that, that weird stage. One of the things that, if you listened to any of the other episodes is, with the rise of AI and some of these other
Yeah.
things that a lot of these, people in our age group now are now being put into a position that they might not have a job anymore. So
Right.
although they might have been thinking about being an entrepreneur or thinking about things, they are finally put in that position now of not being able to get another job. So for somebody that might be a little bit later in life that's, starting their first gig and really debating whether or not to become an entrepreneur, are there just any just high level, nuggets for somebody that's, making that jump from more of a corporate world into doing something on their own?
Anything is really possible if it's something that you actually want to do. If it's something that you're like, I think, but if it's something that you're really excited about, I think that there is definitely possibility. I have made the mistake before of jumping in too quick and not doing enough research and not really knowing what I was getting into as much as I wish I would have, which ends up being a big waste of time and money. But I think, again, thinking about things that make you happy and things that really resonate with you, whether it's like on the creative, I'm always going to think creative. So like pottery studio or whatever it is, things like this podcast. I mean, this is a need that needed to be filled. And honestly, people say podcasts are saturated. I think we need more people that are sharing vulnerably. I think we have enough bro podcasts where it's like dudes making each other laugh. I loved listening to your podcast and hearing you guys share vulnerably about your kids and what it's like to be a man and how scary it is to go through this whole AI thing right now. I mean, do you guys remember how scared everyone was of Y2K?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was a thing.
Parties
Or
because it was
like
going to be the last year of all of our lives.
I remember I was a cocktail waitress, like whatever, 21. And I went up to the well to get my drinks, and the female cocktail waitress was like, there's a thing called the World Wide Web. And I'm like, I have been hearing that. What is that? And it really scared me because I didn't know. So are we really scaring ourselves, or is it going to be a reality where all of our jobs are going to be taken? I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. I feel like a high level nugget of advice would be take care of your mental health. Don't let yourself spin out because who knows what this is actually going to really be, and believe in yourself. If you're good at caregiving or whatever the thing is, if I have any other good advice, Berto.
we've talked about as well is the key, I think, especially as you get older in life, is trying to look at that is finding the passion. It's exactly the way that you said it before. I know the three of us have talked about it on a regular basis. What is that passion? What's something that you really have an interest in that, that you're willing to put, your heart and soul into?
Mm-hmm.
It's good hearing you say
And
that.
I think making sure that it works within the boundaries of what you like. Do you have it in you physically to work a 14-hour day to get, whatever franchise off the ground? Maybe not, thinking about what would really work for your family and the stage that you're at and where do you want to be in 5 years? That's one of the things I wish I would have thought more of is like, okay, what's this going to be in 5 years? What's the safety net if I don't like this in 5 years? Would I be able to sell this business? Would I be able to get my money back? Am I going to be wasting 5 years of my life? So I think one thing that we have is our brains. That's a huge advantage to just stop and think about what that's going to look like and decide if it's a good choice or, possibly a negative choice for us.
Dan, you are one of the people that I know that are most seem like you're most comfortable sharing online, where I don't think Tim, Rob, or I are. That's something a strength or something that we do currently. it's something that we all know that if we want to help get the word out about our podcast, we need to do a better job of getting out there. We talk about it every week and when we don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So is there any advice that you can give to us about getting the word out about our podcast, about how
Yeah.
to do it, about creating that muscle, about
Yeah.
not worrying about feeling cringy, which we're all feeling that way about starting. So that would be helpful for us because as our entrepreneurship of creating this podcast, we need to get the word out and we've
Yeah.
struggled to do that. And you are always sharing and there's so many great nuggets to what you share. And you talked about this earlier about how being vulnerable, how do you allow yourself to do that and not feel weird about that? Or you're going to feel weird about it, just get over it. What's your advice?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the sharing for me is cyclical. I'll go through a couple weeks where I'm like 2 middle fingers up to this whole wide world. I am not in the mood to talk. So when I'm feeling it, don't just make one thing. I'm like ready to share. So then record a few things, just don't share them all at once. Another thing you can do is hire a content creator or put it into ChatGPT and ask, how do I do this? And the three of you guys could get together, do it together, do it in a group, but do like a batch of it for 30 days and then it's done. And it's not a pressure or make it a fun thing. I've done that
Right.
before where I've done like a content creation day. Just bring 4 different Travis Matthews shirts that you can change the colors.
We got those.
So we know that you're in different colors,
Right.
The cringy thing, I mean, I think that's a muscle. And I think as you guys go on and you're like, well, now we have 4 published. I'll tell you what, you guys are going to feel a hell of a lot different about this whole thing when you've got 40 published. And when you have 400 published and you have advertising going on and you have to hire someone to get in your DMs to respond to all these people that want to talk to you. You have to hire an assistant that's going to decide what questions you're going to answer. You guys, the sky is the limit for this whole thing. So the more that you go, the more you're going to feel comfortable with it. You do have to get on social media. But I mean, maybe it's the 3 of you guys together.
Right.
Also on Riverside, they have something called Magic Clips, and that's magic. It really is. And it'll even tell you, I forget what it's called, but it'll tell you, maybe it's not on Riverside. Maybe it's another app that'll tell you like, this is going to get you the most engagement because of even the way your voice is changing because you're talking like this and you're so heated up about it. It'll pick that up and pick the most important 30-second clip. So all that stuff's going to get easier for you, but don't sit on it. I mean, you're going to be sorry if you waste another year. And dudes, we still, it's summer 2027. We still have to get on social. Just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys are great. I mean, there's not enough guys out there talking. I mean, what other podcasts can I think of? Smartless. I mean, and that's like megastars, right? There's not that many like interesting guy things to listen to. I don't think.
We appreciate that. That. Like I said, we may be coming to you for more advice on that inspiration. But I'm just going to throw a couple of my takeaways out, and then some of the video shares that I've seen is to throw your hat in the ring. That's one of the things that I really took away from. If there's something you want to do, throw your hat out there. Ask for that thing that you want.
Yep.
Even if it makes you feel uncomfortable or cringe, as we've talked about earlier.
And
build that muscle by raising your hand.
Chatty Chad, that's the best time. If you're uncomfortable, you're growing, right?
Right.
You're going to feel very comfortable saying, hey, can I join your foursome out on the golf course? Give me a break. You know how to do that. But get uncomfortable doing something like putting your ass on social media. And then okay, I'm actually growing in the direction that I need to grow.
Right.
Right? So the harder it is, the better it is.
Amen. And then you mentioned why start from scratch when you can learn from someone else who's had success? So that was another big takeaway. And, watch somebody that or interview them and find out, what were their tips or tricks or things that, maybe it's going to be hard. You got to realize it's going to be hard. So to kind of have that mentor, if you will, or pattern yourself after certain areas that you want to learn. Go the extra mile for your clients, and that create that culture, which you talked about earlier of a great environment. And then I think those are the main ones that I wanted to share. Rob and Tim, is there anything else that you wanted to add to? And then we'll let Diana share a fun story if she'd like, and then any book or any other things that we can put on our website.
No, I think I'm good on my end. I'd rather hear what Diana has to say than hearing the three of us talk.
Fair enough.
100%, 100%. No, I truly appreciate your time today. This has been amazing and it's inspirational for me. So
Oh,
kind of
thank you.
reminds me of a lot of things that I used to do that I should probably start doing again. So that's
Yeah,
great.
sometimes we just need that reminder, right? Sometimes we just need
Absolutely.
that reminder. Sometimes
Absolutely.
I read books over and over again to remind myself. Like 5 years, I'll go back to a book because I'm like, oh yeah. I think Chad mentioned Atomic Habits,
Yeah.
which is a great one. But yeah, being able to get re-inspired, and we all need that because life is heavy. There's a lot of stuff that goes along with living. Yeah.
And Diane, on that note, is there a way for our listeners who want to learn more about you? You do such phenomenal work in coaching in different
Yeah.
spaces. Is there any place you don't want us to send them, or any place you do want us to send them?
Yeah. So if people are interested in knowing more about Zotty's, it's Zotty's Music, Zottys Music. If you want to talk about anything else, whether it's coaching or getting inspired, or you just have some questions, so DianaPaquet. And that's my Instagram, and people can get a hold of me that way. I'm like dabbling, like people keep telling me, get on TikTok. And I don't know, another thing, maybe when my daughter's 13, I'll get on TikTok.
Some good content out there on the old TikTok.
So I do have a funny story about Chad.
Oh,
Yes.
this is where we use the edit button, Tim.
Nope.
So when my then boyfriend and I got together, Chad came out, and Thomas asked me to come. He's like, "You want to meet my friend Chad?" And I was like, "Yeah." And there's only one thing that I'm insecure about. It's not the cellulite I have. It's not the size of my body. It's not anything that you would think. It is cooking. I hate cooking. I hate it. And I don't know how I ended up having to feed a family of 7 for all these years, but I don't like it. But anyway, Tom's like, "Do you want to cook something for him?" And I'm like, "Sure." He didn't know me well enough to know that like that's the last thing I want to do. But anyway, I cooked my grandmother's lasagna at Thomas's house. So I didn't have like any of my normal stuff. And they're outside chatting, and I'm just in his kitchen. And just it was the first guy I ever dated after my divorce. And I was just like, oh, this is so much. Oh my God, what if this guy doesn't like my lasagna? And I brought it out, and he was like so nice and ate an extra helping and was like, Chad's just the easy. He's that guy that you would want as your best friend, just the easiest. It went super well, but I had talked myself into like, he's not going to like it, or maybe he doesn't eat beef, or, I just made all this drama in my head, but it turned out great. So that would be my first impression of Chad, is just like sweet and lovable. And it was, for as insecure as I felt about it, it was just like the easiest thing. It went fine.
Thank you. Thank you. Your
Yeah,
Venmo account number is what? So I can send you that money.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of funny too. So Thomas and I, he stopped drinking 5 years ago, and this July 4th will be my 3rd year sober. And we both embraced it for different reasons. And it's been really interesting. But as you are a sober person now, it is funny it is like, it's almost a little bit like drinking when you're around your friends that are drinking, because all of our friends still drink. And it's funny. I'm glad I have a partner in my husband to be able to like laugh at all the shenanigans that happen when people who are not sober are partaking. It is a blast to watch. I love my favorite person to go to a game with is Chad, because he's going to get the crowd riled up, and there's going to be something that happens.
Something. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, we can't thank you enough for coming on today, to being open to saying yes to our invitation,
Yes.
to putting yourself
You-
out there to 3 guys that are trying to figure out their next big thing. Like I said, it's been a pleasure. And if there's anything else that you'd like to share with us, any links that we can help you out with, our goal from the beginning was to kind of help ourselves and then help others that are in a similar space. So we appreciate you helping out our viewers and our listeners that are kind of going through a transition time and trying to figure out their next big thing. So
There
thank
is
you
a
again.
book. If you guys have a minute, there's a book I'd like to talk about real quick.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. The book is called A Pearl in the Storm, and it's by a woman named Tori McClure. She was the first woman to row across the Atlantic, and then got caught in the worst, like, I forget what it was. It was like Katrina, but she got caught in it. She had to get rescued. And it's this whole story of being an elite athlete and, getting sponsored and all this stuff and failing. And then she ended up without giving too much away, she ended up becoming Muhammad Ali's right-hand woman in a project he was working on. And he was hugely inspirational to her. And it's just such a badass story. And it's one of those ones that I read every 5 years or so, because sometimes I think we forget. I can't row across the Atlantic. I don't even want to do that. But I do want to be the best version of Diana, right? And you guys all want to be the best versions of you. And so sometimes I love that you guys are asking about books, because sometimes our brains need a map or a reminder on how to stay positive or how to stay going, or just do that one little micro win, that send that one little email or reach out to that one contact, and not turn on Netflix and lay in bed and eat a bowl of popcorn, you know? And so reading inspirational books is a really huge part of what keeps me going and keeps me inspired and excited. But that A Pearl in the Storm is just phenomenal. The story of what this woman went through to do it. So
Love it.
yeah.
Love it. Well, very cool. Thank you once again. We
Yay!
greatly appreciate it. We will
Oh,
be circling back with you soon, and maybe having you on a future podcast down the
yeah,
road to kind of see what's new with Diana and in your world. But thank you again.
for sure.
Tim and Rob, any other final wishes as we wrap up here?
Thank you. It's been amazing to get to know you a little bit better and hear about your background and all the amazing things that you've done, both in your personal and professional. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, all three of you. I really enjoyed it.
On that note, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next episode of Your Next Big Thing. Cheers.
Woo. Bye, guys. Thank you.